Okay, let's get started. So, it is Wednesday, March 31st. Um, my time it is currently 3:34 p.m. and tonight is AEW and NXT. I do plan on watching. Uh, if I can, I'll probably end up watching both. You know, um, have AEW pulled up on my TV or NXT pulled up on my TV and AEW pulled up on my computer. Try and watch them both. And it's gonna be a busy week this week, to be honest. And you know, I have things going on. So this week may not be the best week to start my Let's Talk Wrestling with Noah uh, show, but I watched Monday Night Raw, and so I'm gonna go ahead and just talk about that, and let's just get into it. So, to open the show, Bobby Lashley came out. The Hurt Business came out. They were making Bobby Lashley look like a real superstar, and I can appreciate that. It's pretty cool to see. It's good to see that. So the Hurt Business comes out, get in the ring. They talk. They are talking about how Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin failed to take out Drew McIntyre, MVP, and Bobby Lashley are mad at him. They start going back and forth at him. Uh, Shelton Benjamin eventually ends up putting his hands on MVP. Bobby Lashley steps up, so then Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley get into it. And then Bobby Lashley ends up slamming Shelton Benjamin, and they go to commercial break. And then when they come back, we see Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin talking with Adam Pearce, and Benjamin says that he wants a match with Lashley tonight. And Cedric Alexander goes, "If there's anything left of him, I want him next week." So that goes to that leads into a match between Sheamus and Riddle. Sheamus and Riddle put on a pretty good match. It's physical. Both men are going back and forth, hitting each other pretty hard. Uh, Sheamus has his uh, hard hitting fighting Irish style, and Riddle with the MMA background. So them two put on a pretty good physical match, and then Sheamus ends up winning, and then Riddle ends up attacking Sheamus after the match. Uh, Sheamus is kind of on the top rope. Well, yeah, he's on the top turnbuckle. He's doing his whole pose thing that he usually does, and then Riddle pushes him over the top rope, and then Riddle has got this really angry look to him, and it's kind of good to see that. It's weird though because throughout he appears a couple more times within the show, and in this moment at least, he looked like he was going potential heel, or he was just really angry and frustrated. Either which way, it was good to see Matt Riddle be more serious. Have a more serious look to him, because this whole bro shtick that he's got going on right now. I mean, it's funny, but I would love to see Matt Riddle as a serious, I'm gonna kick your hind end type guy, because he does have the MMA background. So it would be good to see Matt Riddle kind of like that. And I think pairing him with somebody like Paul Heyman, I know that Paul Heyman seems to be everybody's mouthpiece, but it's because he's so dang good at what he does. So maybe pairing Matt Riddle with Paul Heyman sometime would be good for Matt Riddle, because Matt Riddle is not very the best on a mic. And I think having him air with Paul Heyman would do Matt Riddle some good. It would kind of be like Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman, only Matt Riddle isn't as big in stature as Brock Lesnar, but it kind of could have the same look to it. So I think that would be good. But that leads into a segment where Shane McMahon makes fun of Braun Strowman, and uh, this is a feud where Shane McMahon is the bully and he's bullying Braun Strowman, a big bad dummy, you know, uh, the whole bullying storyline that WWE loves to use. They used it with Alexa Bliss and Nia Jax, and they've used it a couple other times too, I'm sure. Um, but they just seem to go back to the well with this one a lot. And Shane McMahon is the smart, technical guy. Braun Strowman is the big, dummy, monster guy. But Shane McMahon, he eventually, he has a segment where he's got Braun Strowman's report card, with a D in English, I mean, that part was funny. I'm not gonna lie, that was funny, but the storyline around it, it's cliche and it's been used multiple times, and it's not as it it's annoying. I'll say that, but they're going to have a match at WrestleMania. Uh, Braun Strowman chose to have a steel cage match, so it should be interesting. Shane McMahon is like 30, 40, 50 something years old. Um, got to be at least. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. But he's old and he's still getting in there and mixing it up with these guys. So kudos to him. Every time he wrestles, though, he's a sweat mess, But he gets in there and mixes it up. So kudos to him. He takes some big spots, and him and Braun Strowman, I'm sure, will probably put on I wouldn't call it a wrestling match, so to speak, but it'll be a pretty good. Uh, I'm sure Shane McMahon will be like the mouse, and you can get the feel by just kind of thinking about it that Shane McMahon is going to be a mouse and kind of be a cat and mouse. Shane McMahon being smaller, quicker dude. You can probably come up with the whole match how it's going to go down in your mind, but we'll just have to see what happens. But then that leads to Miz and Morrison, and they introduced their Hey Hey Hip Hop, or their Hey Hey Hop Hop vid, and that was, I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty cool. It was good, it was cringe, very cringy, but hey, it's entertainment, and hey, if these guys want to get out here and dress in bunny suits and make a fool of themselves, then so be it. Personally, I probably wouldn't do it, but that's why they make the big money, and I'm currently sitting here talking about it. So, just putting that, I'm just gonna leave it at that. But I will say that it was entertaining, and I did like it. So, that being said, Damian Priest and Bad Bunny eventually come out. I have to stream wrestling shows, so the streams kind of cut out, and in this moment, they it kind of was lagging and everything, so I had to reload the stream and everything. So I kind of missed when Bad Bunny and Damian Priest came out, but um, they came out and they were talking with the Miz and Morrison, and Bad Bunny eventually ends up hitting Morrison, not Morrison, but the Miz. Says he's gonna make him his bitch at WrestleMania, and then so Damian Priest and Bad Bunny get into the ring. They end up tearing up the set. Miz and Morrison are mad, saying you're gonna regret this and that. I don't quite understand why Bad Bunny and the Miz are having a match at WrestleMania, but hey, whatever. Um, I do hope to see maybe Damian Priest turning heel and he attacks Bad Bunny at WrestleMania. That would be pretty cool. I am a fan of Damian Priest. Uh, he can get it done in the ring. I like watching him wrestle. So Damian Priest is another dude like Matt Riddle that I would like to see. and a more serious role. Damian Priest just has that look to him that he's not going to be a top baby face, but pairing him with Bad Bunny for the moment isn't a bad idea just to get some eyes on Damian Priest, so that it's working right now. But then that leads to the match between Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley ends up winning this match. There's not much to talk about this match, really. So I will just lead into the New Day game show between AJ Styles and Omos. And that was entertaining, I'm not going to lie. I love AJ Styles. I really do. His character has so many, like, he's able to do so much with his character. He can be that serious, bad, a really prick heel type guy, or he can be that kind of heel, funny guy, or he can be a baby face and make you really love him. So, I mean, I've been a fan of AJ Styles since his time in TNA. Like, I've grown up watching AJ Styles, and he's been one of my main favorites. So, it is good to see him kind of be, funny, but the entire segment almost just had that, like, I don't want to be here look on his face. Like, he was really annoyed. Um, but, you gotta give it to New Day. They're funny at what they do. Um, I can see where people might say that they're annoying because they kind of are at the same time. They're funny, but at the same time, they can kind of get annoying after a while. So, I mean, it's kind of 50-50, but in this segment, it was entertaining, and I did like it. But eventually, Amos is like, enough. We don't need to be um, participating in these game show or in these games to prove that we can win a tag team championship. And then Woods and AJ Styles have a match, and they put on a pretty good match. Um, you know, you take away Xavier Woods. I mean, Woods is a really good at his job too. He's he's a good. He makes you laugh, but at the same time, he can go in the ring. He's a dang good wrestler. So I like that about him. But him and AJ Styles put on a pretty good match. And then after, um, well, Omos eventually ends up attacking Xavier Rhodes and Kofi Kingston. Omos eventually ends up picking Kofi Kingston up, and he ends up throwing him over the barricade. I'm sure there was like some mats or some, something to protect Kofi Kingston's fall. I'm sure that he just didn't throw him over there. I'm sure that there were some pads or mattresses or something. But Omos is a big dude. He's a tall dude. But he eventually ends up like choke slamming, the double hand choke slam type thing. Um, and he does that to Xavier Rhodes. He ends up putting his foot on Xavier Rhodes, standing over him. And then, you know, I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how Omos does in the ring. I don't know. Hopefully, he can go in the ring and he's not just another big, uh, gonna be another big dude that can only throw people around and that's it. So we'll see. But that leads us to the Alexa's Playground segment. Not much to really say about this. Alexa's sitting there with the fiend in the box, he calls it. Um, I'm not gonna lie, I can't remember much of anything that really happened in that segment. But the main thing that I paid attention to um, was really just towards the end of the segment, the fiend, his burnt up self is sitting there, and that was pretty creepy. I'm not gonna say. I'm not gonna lie. So I'm a fan of the Fiend. Um, but he's been uh, excuse me, I'm sorry. But he's been kind of feuding with Randy Orton for a little while now here, but eh, I don't have much thoughts on this. I do like the Fiend, and I will say that much, and I do like Alexa's uh, character that she's got going on right now. She's kind of like the Harley Quinn type character, you know. That's how I see her as. But she's good at what she's doing right now. And then that leads to uh, Drew. We go to commercial break, and then once we come back to commercial break, Drew McIntyre is going through the locker room, telling people to step up, hit him. Uh, he's asking them which one of them is going to take Bobby Lashley upon this offer to dispatch Drew McIntyre, and they'll get the title opportunity at WrestleMania. And then so after talking Braun Strowman, he goes up to Braun Strowman and says, "How about you, big man? You should have been how many? You should have been like 15-time or some. He says something to the lines of, "You should have been a multiple-time champion." And then Braun Strowman stands up and says, "Oh, you don't gotta worry about me. If you win at WrestleMania, uh, I'll be coming to you for the title." So that's that. Drew McIntyre eventually goes to Ricochet, and he's talking to Ricochet, asking him, are you going to be the one to step up and take me out? And Ricochet says, "You know how I do things. I, I'll, we can settle this in the ring." So they end up having a match. But before that, Shayna Baszler and Naomi have a match. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't watch this match. Um, I'm not really going to spend a lot of time talking about this. And in fact, I'm not going to spend any time talking about this. So we'll just move on to Matt Riddle and Asuka. So Matt Riddle and Asuka are in the back. Asuka's talking to Matt Riddle. And this was kind of funny as well. Matt Riddle was like, "You think my scooter," because he's been riding around on the scooter apparently. I don't know why. It's kind of silly, but again, it's the whole comedic Matt Riddle. But Matt Riddle, he is talking to Asuka, and he's like, "Well, you think my scooter would be pretty big in Japan?" Or, yeah, I think he says Japan. I'm not sure, but then Asuka is like, "Yeah, yeah." And Matt Riddle, he forgets his lines, and he's like, he says something along the line of, "I forgot," or "I don't know," or something, but he forgot his lines, and that's pretty funny. Um, MVP takes a shot at him for it. And on Monday Night Raw, like he MVP is talking, and let me back up. It's on Raw talk, and MVP says he's beginning to talk, and then he like stops and he says, "I forget what I'm supposed to say" or something. He kind of makes fun of Matt Riddle for it, but that's also funny. Again, that was on Raw talk, but after that, that leads to Rhea Ripley and the Asuka signing. Um, so Asuka is like saying that how Rhea Ripley's got all this confidence, but she hasn't done much to have this confidence, and Rhea Ripley is saying that like she says to Asuka about the whole, I may be young, I may be still a rookie, but I'm gonna take your championship, that whole thing. Um, so Rhea eventually ends up after her and Asuka signed the contract. Rhea Ripley flips this table, and it hits Asuka pretty hard. Like she flips it, and it hits Asuka in the head. Like so, Asuka is just laying on the ring, kind of selling it, but at the same time, probably not. It probably hurt, so I'm sure she wasn't going to just jump up, either. But so Asuka's kind of laying there, and then Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax come back out, and then they eventually end up, they're talking to Rhea Ripley and all that, and they're like, if you two can make it to next Monday Night Raw, we'll have a tag team match, and that's that. Then that leads to Drew McIntyre and Ricochet's match. Drew McIntyre and Ricochet, I didn't watch the match really. I had it playing, but I didn't really watch it. Ricochet obviously loses, but then after McIntyre wins, Ali comes out and he, like, from behind, takes out Drew McIntyre's knee. They eventually end up having a match, and then Ali is like beating up on Drew McIntyre's knee throughout the match. Drew McIntyre eventually wins, and then Drew McIntyre calls out Bobby Lashley. Bobby Lashley comes out. They get in each other's face. I believe they mix up, and then out of nowhere, Baron Corbin comes in. He attacks Drew McIntyre, gives him a deep six. Then Bobby Lashley comes in, gives Drew McIntyre three. I don't know. It's like it's Bobby Lashley's finishing move, or the Hurt Lock. That's what it's called. He gives Drew McIntyre three of those. Drew McIntyre's looking really beat up after Bobby Lashley and Baron Corbin beat him up. So I'm not quite sure why they brought Baron Corbin in. I'm sure it's just to get some additional. It's Drew McIntyre is the babyface, and they're trying to get him as much cheer, as much. They're trying to get him cheered as much as possible, and Baron Corbin brings heat with him wherever he goes. So I'm sure that's kind of why Baron Corbin has come in, and he's kind of aligning himself with Bobby Lashley. So I'm not gonna lie, the entire time this segment was going on, leading up until Baron Corbin attacked Drew McIntyre, all I was thinking to myself is Lesnar, Lesnar, Lesnar. I was just waiting for Lesnar's music to hit, but it never hit. So we're not getting Drew McIntyre versus Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. That sucks, to be honest. I was hoping we would get that, but maybe it might be a SummerSlam thing. Who knows? It would be nice to see Lesnar and Bobby Lashley mixed up, but that was wrong. Not a lot happened really, but it was an alright show, I guess. It wasn't anything worth like gushing over or anything, but it was bearable to say for the 3 hours. I really wish that the women, these women can wrestle, but it's just a matter of the storylines they gave are so dang bland, and it's the same women in every segment, just about, So, and then the women that you do have, although they can wrestle, not many of them have an interesting character, and I hate to say that because they're trained, they put in a lot of work. They put in a lot of time and work to get to where they're at, and it's no really place of mine to say that they don't have much of a character, but it is what it is. They don't. I would love to see them giving more of an opportunity. If they can put in the work to further their character, You know, I mean, why just have Charlotte and Asuka and Nia Jax and the same old women in every segment? It seems like if other women can come in with different characters and make the women's division that more interesting, so be it. I'd enjoy that. The tag team division isn't that great neither. Um, and it's funny because back in 2016, I think the women's division and the tag team division were giving a lot of love, and they were giving a lot of time. When to me they were the hottest thing going on. They were giving a lot of time. They were built up to be this big deal, and they felt like a big deal as well. But right now they neither division really is main. It's the you're either at the top, in the main event, or you're in the mid card. But anything below that, there's not much going on, and that's kind of what makes Raw especially like SmackDown is pretty good, but Raw, mm, I think 3 hours is too much. I think 2 hours, like compress everything into 2 hours, take out some of the filler, hit on what you need to hit on, make the storylines more interesting, more matches, just make things more interesting on Raw. SmackDown, my favorite show between Raw and SmackDown is SmackDown. There's good stuff going on over there on SmackDown, and I would like to see Raw get to that point too. But AEW and NXT are tonight. Like I said, I'm gonna try and watch both of them. I'll have AEW pulled up, and I'll have NXT pulled up. Um, I wanted to make this video though, and I will say that I do have a busy week coming up, but I'm going to try and get these videos out. It may take a couple days, so bear with me, but I'm gonna get them out hopefully. So that's been my recap of Monday Night Raw, and to be honest, I've enjoyed doing it today. Um, so until next time, I've been Noah, and I hope you've enjoyed talking wrestling with Noah. Also, it's a very, very dumb move to break up the Hurt Business, because what was Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander doing before the Hurt Business? Anybody? Anybody at all know what they were doing? Exactly. Not a damn thing. But now, Vinnie Mac wants to break up the Hurt Business. It was nice knowing you, Sean Benjamin, Cedric Alexander.